Okay, great. Now we're recording. Hmm. And then I just take a moment because it's so interesting. Like, I really want to just be the same, whether it's recording or not.
Mm.
And sometimes I feel some kind of inner switch come in and like put on some kind of performance mode when I see that it's recording. So, all right. So I'm here with Fanny Norlin. Um, The first time that I met you, Fanny, was at the first ever Nordic Women's Gathering, where you were one of the initiators. Um, I'm now on the facilitation team, but we just crossed over that one time, and then we met again at a participatory festival. I think that's where I got to know you a little bit better. And things transpired to that. I think this was by your invitation, right? That we have ended up writing a song together called Fire in Me that is now live on Spotify. Um, yeah, welcome. I'm super happy to talk to you about that today.
Thank you, Kim. Oh, I get up a memory just to also like give some more flavor of our relationship and maybe also like our relationship to music. Yeah, I think I have two memories. So one is during the pandemic, we had like a really small. We met just a couple of friends, and you did a concert, and you sang the Good Girl Detox acoustically, and I think maybe it was the first time you performed it. And it was, yeah. Is the Good Girl Detox out yet?
No,
Is it?
no.
Is it?
It's not.
Is this a spoiler?
No, it's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it was the first time I heard you with your own music, and like I just cried for the whole song. Um, yeah, and I also remember why I thought of it was because when you shared about this festival that we were at, or the Burn, also that I was like sitting with two other people eating, and then I just heard you playing it, and I just like dropped my spoon into my soup and just started crying again because that song like touches me so deeply. Yeah, and then I think it was at Familiansen. Did you rap at like one of the choir things you guys had or something? I don't know. There was some time I heard you rap in something, and I remember just going up to you and like, "Ah, Kim, your music." And then I think that was when we first started talking about that. Like, I've dabbled in the world of rap, and like, yeah, I've told you before. Like, I've dreamt of being a hip hop artist since I was like 15 as a secret plan B mission in my life. I mean, maybe not so seriously, but like I just find, yeah, I just love the power in it. Um, yeah, but which I think was what I found so touching about how you rap is that like, and I mean, you have different flavors and different songs, but there is something about that power that doesn't only come like you have like angry songs, and I love those as well, because that's what music is for us, is like a catharsis. But there's also something about um, this power that comes from the feminine, that like comes from your body, and that comes from um, and my teacher talks about like the Black Panther feminine power that's just like it's just so embodied and so present and so like that it just brings that power without having to like scream at the top of your and I that power I just like, yeah, it just touches people and touches me. Um and yeah, I was just really drawn to, I was, yeah, it made me feel like, oh, like this is the kind of space that I want to create music within. Yeah.
Wow, it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful to like hear you reflect back on that. And 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 I think, you bringing out this aspect of the energy that the rap takes has also, since we've been working together on this song, it has influenced me in how I've been thinking about delivering lines. um, because if that was there before, it wasn't so explicit to me, you know. And I really, that's something that I really appreciate about you, is how you reflect on things and bring things out to my attention
Mm,
by how you reflect. And I
mm,
think that it's influenced our song, and how, because there was a way that we were delivering this: when you take space, you don't take it from me. We were delivering it a bit like rougher in the beginning.
yeah.
Then I think it's you that really pulled us back into, like, hey, that let's like vary the dynamics of that in the energy of how it comes out. And that is actually, I know you've been telling me how um you maybe weren't so used to writing songs before, but that is very much like deep attention to the musicality also, as
Yeah.
well as just the energy and vibe of the song.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think that's something I really appreciate about writing music with you, is that because like I've always felt that I have that deep connection to like art, I guess in general, whether that's like words or images or music. But it's like I have this, I can deeply feel it and sense it, but I don't really feel I have the tools to make what I feel into something. If that makes sense. Like, just like, and I think, and like, it's actually, I'm not sure. Like, I really like collaborating, like because then I can be in that really deep space and not have to like go into the technicality mode, like of how does it fit together and da da da. Like, I really, really love that. Yeah, that collaboration. Uh, and it's yeah, it's been so such a flow working with you, Kim. On
mm,
this, yeah, it really feels. I mean, we've talked about this, but that like this song is such a fruit of the intention of, or like what the song is about. Like it was written in such a feminine way. Like we just really tapped into like what do we want to bring into the world, or like what is coming through us, like what wants to be here. And then we just flowed into that energy and vibration together, and then it just like birthed. uh, it was actually, yeah, to me it's one of the most profound like feminine creations that I've been a part of, I think.
yeah, I think me too. I think me too. And I loved how it came together. On the creative level, I'm not so used to collaborating. For me, like, creativity has always been quite an introverted process. And I think, you actually approached me about collaborating long before we actually collaborated. And I think that was part of it, that I didn't have the confidence that I would be able to do that in collaboration. And that's partly because of, how a song is written. I didn't know how to share that. And it was also like, it is a vulnerable thing. If I'm writing on my own, my first idea, I can just write it down, and if I feel like it's cheesy or stupid or whatever, I can just rub it out and nobody is ever going to know. But when I'm writing with you, it's like the first thought, it needs to be expressed. And so I need to be seen by you in that vulnerable moment of having a creative idea, which is a very tender thing, and to express it directly. And so it was very touching and very meaningful for me that it was such a flow, and that I felt so safe with you to express those first ideas.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was very beautiful.
And I think it's so fascinating because, like, I mean, one lens you could look at it is, like, I don't know, through the maybe insecurity lens, of both of us having different kind of self doubts around things. Um, but I also think there's some profound feminine wisdom in like that. It was like, so I usually talk about her like as an entity in me, or, something coming through me, and that like she, like with a big S, like just knew that it wasn't time, and when it was time, it happened, like that. It was just, it felt so yeah, guided, that like, yeah, when it was time to be created, it created. It was created. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, super much. And I remember like you were really being the visionary that you are. You were really like you really came with an idea of the structure,
Yeah.
actually. I think that you doing that, it's sort of like placed a little bit of a masculine frame to it from the beginning and sort of got that part out of the way and then just let us flow.
Mm.
And I feel like the way that we created the song was also the essence of the song, in terms
Yeah.
of like it
Yeah.
was really free from competition and like my idea is better than your idea and this kind of thing that can come when you're collaborating
Yeah.
creatively.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one big key was just like that the song was so much based on our own desire, and because, to put it in context, like, um you rapped at the first Lalita's party, so I made a um burn inspired tantric and lesbian party, and Kim like rapped, and it was so fucking epic, as that I was talking about this like female energy just among an audience of only women. It was like, and then like, I think my invitation, I'm not sure, but I think my invitation was like, I would love to like rap with you at the next Lolitas. And it was like that. The how we wrote the song was like, in what energy do we want to perform together, and like how, like, to me it was both like, what would I want to sing about that would just make me feel like, just like in my, like in my turn on, in my power, like to have fun. But also it was like, and that the purpose of the song was like, how do we, basically, like, how do we put, I don't know, pussy power and jewel force and female sexuality and this feminine leadership into a song, so that like when it's heard, women get that transmission, that kind of thing. But it wasn't like, but we didn't start at like, okay, so how can we get women to experience this. It was more like, how can we experience this when we're performing, and let's write that song, and then by us being in that, that's what's going to get that transmission. And it's not even like, it's a bit, this logic is a bit after constructed, like it was just, yeah, it's hard to put words on, but like, I think that's what that we were just basically following the practice of doing what really turned us on and what we really desired and what felt really true, for us.
Yeah, so much. And this is like you really touch on like this is a big core part of what I also do when I'm coaching with people. I'm like, when we when we really step into something and we really embody it and then we dare to express from that embodied place while we're in connection with the people around us, whether that's our audience or our team or the I don't whoever, we they will kind of co-regulate with that.
Yeah.
And it can start from here, and it must start from here almost. And to do that takes the courage to write into that space in the first place, and then to really step into it and be present with it and stay in contact with the body and with the room and really express it. And I think it's so cool. I mean, maybe we can also a little bit set context by just saying what maybe some people haven't heard the song, and then if that's you, you should just go listen to the song. But it was when you take space, you don't take it from me. When you dare to shine your spark, it lights a fire in me. You're not making me small, you're inspiring me. When you dare to shine your spark, it lights a fire in me. Um, I reflect on that chorus sometimes, and I'm like, that is so good. How did we write that amazing thing?
And I almost want to share like how it happened. I get goosebumps when when I think back to that. So we were at my place, right? It was the first session we did, right? At
Yeah,
my place. And it was so, you know, I think we started a bit and like, oh, how do we do this thing? But then we just, again, like as I shared, just started talking about like, what do we really want? Like, what are we like? And then, I think so. I'm deep in Awakening Feminine Leadership with Louise Alcén, and you've also taken her courses. So like the question was like, so if we want to write a song that embodies, like, then my idea is like, why not use the tools that we both have in feminine leadership, like in our practice, and just basically do the practice as a song. Like let's so those ideas about like, so some practices that we have, is about like bragging among women, about talking about your turn on, what turns you on, your pleasure, your desires. So like those are like the core elements, and we're just basically like doing our own practice in the song. So we were like, and then from that, it was like we were doing the practice while we were writing the song as well. So we just got into this. Uh, we just got into this flow of like talking to each other. So I think we started with like the brag stuff, and we just made this huge brainstorm of like, Kim, tell me how epic you are, like, and tell me in all the ways that you are amazing. And then we just had this paper, we were just like brainstorm, and then like we were just in that, and then from there, I think it just came to you. Like I remember you wrote the song. Um, what was the first line? It was when you dare to shine your spark, it lights a fire in me. I think, yeah, I think it was the first, and it was just there, and we're like, this is it. This is so fucking fire. Like this is the verse,
yeah,
and we had so much fun. Like I still, when I think back to that session, like my whole body gets filled by this like Eros jewel force energy. I'm just like, uh,
yeah, yeah. We had so much fun. And I love that, like, part of what allowed us to have fun is that we were doing what the song says,
exactly. Like it's
because
so meta.
it's so meta. Yeah, but like it's that you're not making me small, you're inspiring me, because it's still in me, this feeling sometimes of when someone is there and they are so magnificent
Yeah,
that there is an instinct in me to just shrink in their light, because it takes something to remember who I am and rise and stand with it. It takes something.
yeah.
And I remember, you know, after we already wrote her song and Cesar, who's been producing it, had been putting it into the song, and when Cesar sent that first draft of the song that he'd made, I was in like a low self-esteem patch. I
Mm.
was in a really difficult time, and I had forgotten who I was. And I was making myself small. Not necessarily only because there's amazing people around me, but partly, when I'm feeling small myself, I can go into that comparison mode and just feel like everybody's doing better than me. Everybody's so amazing and strong and powerful and talented, and I'm just a sludgy slime ball. And then he sent our song, and I listened to it, and I was just listening back to us singing and just weeping,
Mm.
because I felt how we we had immortalized in time this thing that could then take me from that place and lift me up again and remind me who I was. Uh, yeah, so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And again, that it's so like it's such a core in how we created the song as well. Like because, from my perspective, like I fucking love your music. Like and I think you're so fucking talented and gifted in, being able to, I think I've told you this before, that like it doesn't feel like there's so many like in the rap scene that like are at or maybe I shouldn't talk shit about, but it doesn't have to compare. But like, there's something unique, maybe say that about being like your intellect is like, and then you have such like embodied intelligence and empathy, and you're so funny, and then you're amazing at right. You know, like you just have so much brought into that fuses into your music. And for me to like, yeah, let's write a song. Like, you know, I've never written a song before, or I mean, I've written fun, yeah, but I've never really like seriously tried to write a song. Yeah, and to do that, like I could have easily, and I had, you know, that like, uh, uh, who am I to come here and write songs with Kim, you know? But then by us like being in the practice just like really helped me to like, this is amazing. Or I wasn't even thinking like it's like, it's not that I was like actively, okay, let's, you know, let's not have self-doubt. It's just like the energy of going into that just made me like be my biggest self. And then from there create together.
Yeah, wow. I take in what you say. Thank you. Um and I also like I really think because of you and how you are and how you embody your practices, you have brought so much to my songwriting from working with you, you know? Like so I do sometimes, you know, I get offers of collaborations quite often, and sometimes I do need to sort of like step into my power and be like, no, that's not gonna actually serve me to be in that collaboration. Then with you, you are someone that I like, I could easily put you on a pedestal just because of how you are and your intellect and what you bring and just how you stand in your power. You are someone that you know it could be easy to shrink in the light of. Um, and yeah, I just to collaborate with you was really exciting for me. I think that's what I want to say. And also what I want to say, just to say that this is not your first time rapping. I know that because
This is
I
true.
was living in a collective house with Anton Frisk, who was at university at university at the same time as you. We don't say with you because I don't think you knew each other then, but he when he was talking about how he remembers Fanny Norlin from university, how he remembers you is rap. So like you've been rapping. And also I have a memory that you talked in the beginning about the first time that you heard the Good Girl Detox song.
Hmm.
And at that same gathering, you were rapping. But
Was
in
I?
this, yeah, you were having a freestyle rap battle with, I don't remember who now. And it was in Swedish, and then I didn't really speak much Swedish, so I couldn't really understand. But
No, that was at the same party, wasn't it? At the when you did the good. Oh, you mean yeah, the Good Girl Detox? Yeah,
yeah,
was
yeah,
you
that was
doing
at the
that?
same party, and you were doing that. And, you know, it's been years since then, and I have learned to freestyle rap with words. It's
Hmm.
still edgy for me, and I still make it into my practice. Like when I'm in my own practice now, that's what I do to go into my own stretch zone. But when I saw you just there, it's so brave to just go up in front of people and freestyle rap with words when you don't know what's going to come. You have to sort of like lift those inner filters and just. And so, like, I had an admiration for this.
Hmm.
People were like, oh, Kim's a rapper. Kim, go up and do freestyle. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to go. I don't want. So instead, I performed something that I'd already written, you know, because that it was too scary for me to do what you did. So yeah, that's also like you being in your like powerful free expression actually.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love that because that's like, because we're all different, you know, we all have our edges, and if we yeah, if we can just be ourselves and like be what we're great at and then do that together, which is so difficult for so many women because we're so conditioned to compete, to, you know, that there can only be one successful woman, like all these things. And then that like how different we are would could easily turn into a competition, instead of this like epic synergy that we've had instead. Because to me, like freestyle is so much less scary than writing a song, because there's something about like when something has to be written down and will be, you know, sealed forever. And you know, like when it's freestyle, to me it's just like, well, then people know I'm just making it up in the spot, so if it's shit, it's fine, you know. Like there's something, but like and I know a lot of people find that very scary. So but yeah, just yeah, I think that's so beautiful. And actually, like that also, like when you said that this song like inspired you when you're low, there's just something about the frequency and the energy of like uplifting. But there's also, like to me, and I don't think that was that intentional when we wrote it, but to me, and also when we've been performing together, like to me, like one of the huge things is seeing two women just like collaborating like that, just like being fucking powerful, very different in how like in what we, but like yeah, that actually by you like being your unique flavor, it actually creates space for me to be my unique flavor. And I think that's so fucking rare among women. Like we don't see that. Like we see women who like are united front, but then it's always like that. It's kind of a united front, you know, like it's this united force field. And you and me are like so like unique and quirky in our own ways. And I think that to me like really touches me. That we're, yeah, that we've been able to build that up, and that we can um show that, because then it's like when we're being unique and quirky, and that makes space, it like it creates this space for uniqueness and quirkiness in the whole room, and that really touches me. Like, and I can feel that when we perform.
Yeah, I can feel that too. I feel us, yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful and magical and powerful, the feeling of performing with you. And sort of like, yeah, what we co-create and then like bring the audience into also. It's so beautiful. I'm getting really like I want to make another one.
Yeah, for sure. And the
I
music video.
And the music video,
Excited
yeah.
about that. I think that was something for me as well. Like to me, I'm so about, I love creating epic experiences. So I think that was a big thing for me, that like we actually had a gig. We wrote it for a gig, like we wrote it for an experience. Like we wrote it to like what would we want to fill a room of 100 women with, you know, like
Mm,
that. And I think that's also part of the magic, that it's like, yeah, that it's yeah, that the song is an experience, or design. It's, yeah, it's like designed to create an experience
mm,
by, again, not designing the experience but just being the experience or something like that.
mm. Yeah, yeah, totally. Do you plan to have more Lalitas events in Stockholm?
People have been asking, again, like that also comes from such a like feminine call, so it feels like I can't really like force it, like it has to come through me and through Ida, who's my co collaborator in it, and also the other women. But I think there's maybe something slightly different wanting to come through,
Mm,
like that it can be under the Lolitas, but that I think like we did a Lolitas at Borderland, and I think we didn't really listen into like what wants to come through now, and it was like it was a really magical and amazing party, but it didn't really have that like that the other parties have had. And I think it's because we just did it because we did it last year, and you know, like it was a bit I don't know, maybe from myself, or I don't know. Um, because it was such a success last year. But it was a really reminder to like, when it comes to the feminine, you can't do it for any external reason. Like you have to do it because it's just supposed to be done, or like it's just
Mm.
what makes you come most fully alive. Um, so I think, yeah. Um, I mean, Ida and I are definitely doing. We did a feminine leadership event in November or December, and we're definitely planning to do more of those. Um, but yeah, specifically under Lalitas, we'll see. But what we have been talking about, if we would do it, is some kind of daytime event rather than night, um,
Mm.
just to like really be able to bring in more of like the presence and embodiment, and there's something about just like women dancing outside in the sunshine that is very nice.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm starting to feel like a sense of completion to this chat. Do you, how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. It feels like the energy is done.
Yeah. Whoosh. Beautiful. Well, wherever we post this, I will also make sure that people can find a link to hear our song, Fire in Me, on
Mm.
Spotify. And I just so much look forward to the time when we get to perform that together again.
Yes, likewise, Kim.
Mm. Thanks for the chat today.
Thank you, Kim. This is beautiful.